Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. I'm Melissa and this is Melissa Knits for Fun. Well, if you have been watching my videos recently, you know that I have so many whips on my needles. And so I decided to run an experiment last week, and I decided to be a monogamous knitter for an entire week and see what happened. I'm going to share with you today my secret thoughts about what was going to happen, what actually happened, and what I learned from it. Now, I am going to go ahead and play. I did a little bit of a vlog approach because I recorded every single day except for one because I was sick that day and I just could not record that day, which was Sunday. But I recorded every single day at the same time so that y'all would be able to see the progress of the sweater from day to day. And what I worked on was the Moss Ridge test knit. I'll pop a picture up here so y'all will get an idea of what it's like, but I'm not going to show you and reveal the final of where I've gotten until at the end after you've gone through all of the updates. Also today, this will be shocking if you're a regular viewer, I don't have any acquisitions. However, I have a new test knit that I am going to knit, and I'm going to need y'all's help because I'm going to let y'all help me decide which of the patterns I'm going to actually knit, and then help me decide which colors that I'm going to use. And then, while I don't have acquisitions, I do in fact have some fun finds from my stash that were happy coincidences where things matched up. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that at the end as well. So for those of you who reached out and said, I hope that your next video is not too short because we like the long ones, never fear. I am sure that this is going to be longer than I expect it to be. Maybe shorter than a lot of them, but I suspect it will be a little longer because I have so much to tell y'all about. And I also have a little bit of a life update. Nothing to be alarmed about, but there have been many distractions this week, and I will update y'all on one of them and tell y'all what's going on. All right, I'll see you back in just a few minutes. Hey y'all. So I thought I would kick us off today. You got me messy hair and all. I just got up. It's early. I'm about an hour before I have to go to work, and I thought that I'd pop in and I would set the stage for what I'm doing. This is the Moss Ridge test that I'm doing for Sophie from the Knit Pearl Girl. And this is going to be the only project that I work on for the entire week. And I don't think that I'm going to suddenly become a monogamous knitter because I stayed up really late last night so that I could knit on all the things before I had to put them down. Now we'll see. I might actually really enjoy myself and this might become, you know, more of a way of working. We will see. And anyway, this is where I'm starting. It will be interesting to see where I end. Well, I'm back. It is the end of the day. This is my first day at work, knitting during meetings, only knitting on one thing, not knitting on a stockinette. I don't feel like I got a whole lot done. I got a bit done, and I'm in the middle of a row, but I didn't make as much progress as I thought I would. Part of that is because I grabbed my phone every chance I got. I think that in my headspace, I'm still in the, why am I doing this? I don't want to be doing this, but I know that I need to do this, and I'm hoping that I will get this finished this week. But I also want to see how I feel because right now I'm kind of like, rah, 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 rah. But I am going to take all of the projects because where I sit, I have all of my projects around me so I can just grab whatever I want. I'm going to take all of those and put them in project bags and get them out of sight so that hopefully it's out of sight, out of mind, and I'm not sitting there like today. I've been sitting there looking at some of these other projects that I really want to pick up and work on because I'm so over the knit and pearls right now, and I've got a ways to go with the double moss stitch before I am done with that part and I can join, and then I can work on some cables. So anyway, I'll see y'all back here tomorrow. Same time, same place, and I'll let you know how it's going. Hey y'all, I'm going to show you this and you're going to swear I have done nothing at all since yesterday afternoon. It doesn't look much bigger, does it? I mean, if I hold it, hang on, if I hold it by the shoulders, you can see I've gotten a little bit more done. But I have to tell you what I did. I read the instructions wrong. It said to measure 19 centimeters or 7.5 inches from the pickup of the front. And since it said the front instead of the shoulder, I thought it was talking about where you added these stitches here. So I knitted a little bit over 7 inches from there for the front. And so I wound up, and I know for a fact that my raglan, my armhole depth is about, 8.5, 9 inches. I could get away with 10. It'd be a little bit big. It was 12. It was 12 inches from there. And so I had to rip back about 4.5 inches. You can see how much yarn I had to rip back because I've just, all of this right here is all that I ripped back. So I have done an incredible amount of work for nothing because I made a mistake. It was not a pattern mistake. It was a me mistake. And I should have just gone in and clarified. I did as soon as I was like, ooh, that says pick up. Maybe that means this. And I went and asked, and yes, it was from the shoulder. Apparently somebody else had asked that same question. I had missed it. So I have done a lot of work. It's just not showing right now, but I am only 3 rows away from being able to join in the round and then start on the cables. There's a little bit that you do before the cables, but then you start the cables. I'm very excited about that. I'm very sad that I could have done that last night and have been working on cables instead of moss stitch because I am so done with knit and purls right now. And I'm so excited now that I'm getting closer to being able to join in the round and all of that. I am getting more excited. I'm not enjoying the monogamous stuff very much. It did help when I put away my projects last night. So I haven't been like really tempted by things that were sitting there wanting to pick them up. But I don't love feeling like I'm being forced to work on something. And I know this is all just a mental game, but I'm glad that I'm getting back to the point where I'm going to be excited about this project again because I wanted to knit this so bad I was stalking her page from the time that she put it out. So, very, very excited. It's a beautiful, beautiful pattern. Nothing to do with the pattern. It was absolutely my mistake. I will check back in tomorrow and let you see how much I've gotten done. Hey, y'all. Welcome back. It is that time again. It is Saturday, and we're about halfway through now, not quite halfway through the experiment, and I did get it joined in the round. I pulled all of that back, and I did the shaping and everything, and I got it joined in the round right before I went to bed last night. And then today, I'm on the last round now before I actually do my first cable. It doesn't look like I've gotten a whole lot done. However, I went to the movies last night, and that was 2 hours. I was at the movies. Then today, all day, Michelle has been here helping me try to get control of my chaos, my yarn chaos, and trying to get the single skeins documented and stuff as our first part to figure out what I was going to do with all that yarn. And so I have actually gotten quite a bit done. I've got, like I said, I got all the shaping done for the armhole, and I got it joined in the round, and I have got the first part, and I'm about to do the first cable, and I did do a fit check as well. It fits absolutely great. So I'm really excited. I am enjoying the monogamous knit more now that I am past all of the moss stitching that I was having to do, and then I'm actually doing a pattern now, and I'm fixing to do the cables, and I love cables. So we will see how much I get done by tomorrow. Wish me luck. Hey y'all. Well, today is Monday, and I've got 2 more days of the experiment left. So I'm on day 5 of a 7-day experiment. And I will tell you, I did not do an update yesterday, so you may be wondering why it looks like I've gotten so much done. Although I will tell you, I don't think it looks like I've gotten so much done. I was really, really sick yesterday. I did not get much knitting done yesterday. I slept off and on all day, and I was really, really under the weather. And so you know, I just didn't get a whole lot done, and I just did not feel like recording an update to say, hey guys, I've been sick all day and haven't really done anything. So I'm going to give you a 2-day update today. I did knit a little bit off and on yesterday whenever I was up and my head didn't feel like it was going to explode. And so I got a little bit done. You can see I got the very first cabling done. I did get that done. That's a 12 row repeat, so that tells you how many rows. It is, I mean, it is not blocked, so obviously it is really, really just like cables do. It's kind of all bunched together, but that is the first cable. I got all the mod stitch done, got it joined in the round. I believe I had already gotten it joined in the round on Friday, but I did get the first cables done, and then I ran out of yarn for that ball, and so I went a new ball, and I thought, oh, I'm gonna do the collar. I'm not gonna do the sleeves because those are moss stitch, and I'm just a little burnt out on moss stitch right now, so I am waiting on them until the end. But I did the collar, and these folded collars always take so much longer than I expect that they will. This is what it's going to look like whenever it gets all folded down. And that weird line of demarcation is because she has you do like 3 rows of double knit to get it to where that it will naturally want to turn down. And these just always take longer because I'm always like, oh, it's just, you know, 3 inches total, and that doesn't seem like a lot, and it is a lot, especially on US 2.5 or 3 millimeter needles. Millimeter, not millimeter. Millimeter needles. It just takes longer. And then I did the thing where you fold it down and you knit 2 together, and then you bind off like that. And it was just so tight that I was like, yeah, no, I can't wear this. So I had to pull all of that out, and then I did a bind off, a loose bind off, so it's plenty big. I mean, this is plenty big for me. And then I'm going to just sew it down with the whip stitch like I did on the Sorry Nordland Book Club, which looks really nice, and it will be nice and stretchy. Of course, it helps if I can get this to where that it's actually right. But anyway, it will be nice and stretchy. I've already checked that out. So that's where I am today, and I'm going to tell y'all a few observations. I'm day 5 in. I really thought secretly, I was like, ooh, I might get this whole thing done this week, because if I just focus on it for, you know, a whole week, I'll be able to knock this sweater out. Except for, since I have unleashed, because I used to be a monogamous crocheter and a monogamous knitter. I didn't even think about having more than one thing on the needles or on the crochet hook at one time. This is how you do it. You just do one thing at a time. When I unleashed that, after I started watching podcasts and stuff and saw that people were doing more than one thing, after I unleashed that and decided I'm just going to cast on, and I read the studies about, you know, that way, whatever mind space you're in, you have something to pick up if you just need stockinette and mindless, or you need, you know, you're wanting to really engage your brain and do cables, etc., that you would be able to pick up whatever you wanted to work on. So having multiple, you know, projects on the go was a good thing. Once I unleashed that beast, I'm not able to go back, I don't think. I don't think that I will ever become a monogamous knitter, because I have found myself on my phone. I've been doom scrolling. I've been every little excuse to be able to not work on this sweater, but do something else, because I know it's all in my head. I know that it is mental. It is not true. I'm not being punished. I know I'm not being punished. I chose to do this. But I just feel like that I'm being forced to work on this thing, and I don't want to work on it. I'm not finding as much joy out of it. I am finding more joy now that I'm to the cabled part, but I'm not finding as much joy. But what really convinced me that I truly am someone who needs more than one project, and I'm not a monogamous knitter. I can't just focus on one and be happy and be really productive, which is really weird, because other aspects of my life, I am so much more productive if I just focus on one thing. Like at work, if I focus on getting that one thing done before I move on to something else, I am super productive. I am not as productive at work going back and forth between multiple things. When I'm editing my videos, when I'm getting my YouTube ready, you know, to actually go live and stuff like that, I am so much more productive if I'm just focusing on one. So it is really weird to me that my knitting is the only space where really, if I just have free reign and can cast on everything I want to cast on and then just work on them, that I'm much more productive. And it really brought it home to me today. I am fixing to record a video about using hand-dyed yarn. And y'all will have already seen this by the time y'all will have already seen the hand-dyed one by the time that y'all see this. I was going to just do my hand-dyed stash next, but I really got to thinking about, I've given y'all, I think it's 6 videos now, of just showing different brands in my stash, which is great. And finding things to do with knitting for Olive and Sandus yarn and drops and all that is probably pretty easy. But finding something to do with hand-dyed yarns that are really variegated or really, really tonal, and finding something that really looks good in those yarns might be a little bit harder to do. So I decided that I would break up the stash tour and I would do a video about, you have a single skein or maybe multiple, but you have at least one skein of really special yarn. You saw this in the hank. You fell in love with it. You just could not say no. It had to come home with you. And now you're not really sure what you're going to do with it because it is highly variegated. When you did a swatch, it did not quite look like what you expected it to look like. How are you going to let it shine? So I decided that I would do that. And I had made a swatch several weeks ago because I've shown y'all the swatches using one of my hand-dyed yarns where I showed y'all, you know, this is with the light green and then this was with the darker green, which I liked a little bit better, but I still didn't like either one of them because I don't just love how it works up, right? It looks a little muddy to me. And then Melanie Roundtree had recommended that I use black or hot pink. And sorry, as I'm digging through over here, I actually did bring that swatch with me and now I can't find it. Trying to see, I brought all kinds of things with me, but I can't find it now. You'll just have to trust me that I made a swatch today where I did black and then I did a little bit of a fade and then hot pink. And working on that, because I knew I needed it to film this video, I was ready to pick back up my moss ridge. I was like, oh, I really want to be working on that moss ridge. You know, I want to finish off that collar. I want to get it sewn down. I want to do this. I want to do that. Ooh, I want to get to the next cable. So just by giving myself a break from having to focus on the moss ridge made me want to go back and work on it again. So I think that really proves out that I'm not a monogamous knitter at heart, that I'm not somebody who's just going to focus on one thing and be happy. But I am going to finish out the experiment. So I am going to spend the next 2 days and I'm not going to break again. I will just strictly work on this and we'll see how much whenever I get ready to record in 2 days my podcast, which will be a few hours before the end of the experiment. But we'll see how much I have gotten done. Have I only gotten 1 more cable done or have I gotten 4 more cables done because I have just been working away on it? We will see. So until tomorrow, because I'll be back tomorrow to give y'all another update and then you'll kind of get an idea on where I'm at. Because if I've already got another cable or a cable and a half done, you'll know I might get 3 to 4 done by Wednesday afternoon. But I will see y'all tomorrow afternoon, same time, same place. And I will give you another little update and see if having just that little bit of a break really helped me to want to knit on this and keep off my phone and stuff. So I'll let y'all know. All right, y'all are getting real life this week with me knitting every single day or updating y'all every single day. Y'all are getting the bad hair and the funky t-shirts. This one Michelle bought me on one of her vacations. We had this whole conversation and there was this meme about that, you know, something about friends, but best friends are like an octopus that stick to your face and don't let go. And anyway, she came back with the purple octopus. And so on days that you know, I want Michelle here, but she's at work or whatever, I will put this on. Weird, I know, but it is what it is. So there you go. It is me and my t-shirt. All right, and speaking of shirts or tops or whatever, I did get the collar sewn down. I tried it on. It fits really, really nicely. And I have gotten the second set done. I am on my third ball of yarn. This is still quite a bit, but it is going faster than it was previous to cables. So I might be getting a little bit nervous. This is only my third ball and I have 5 more balls. I don't think I need to get nervous yet because I joined it, I don't know, right around in here yesterday. So we'll see. If I need to pivot and do some sleeves first, I can do that. But the monogamous part is still, I don't just love it. I would really like to be able to knit on other things and then come back to this, because I do find myself being distracted by other things, my phone, anything, any excuse to be distracted, which is not what I normally do. When I'm all excited about things, and I'm very excited about these cables, I usually will just knit, but it's because I feel like that my choice has been taken away. And I know this is all in my head, and it's because I have set those boundaries for myself. If I had said, well, I'm going to be a monogamous knitter, but, you know, and I know this would not be being a monogamous knitter if I said, I'm going to only work on one project, and then every 2 hours I'm going to work on something else for 30 minutes, and then I'll go back to that project. I think that would have helped me, and I do realize it is all a mental thing, but it is what it is. And so I'm not loving the process. I am loving the fact that I am starting to really see it come together. There is no way that by tomorrow, by the time I go to bed, that I would have this body done. I really did think secretly that I was going to have the body done by the time I came back next, you know, well, it will be tomorrow, because tomorrow is my last day of this experiment. I really did think that when I came back on to podcast tomorrow, that I'd be like, oh, look, I got the body done. Well, that is not going to happen. And it really is just because it's a mental game. I know it is, but I have just used anything to distract myself. And with today, it doesn't help. I got a phone call this morning from my brother. He is in the hospital. He's being admitted. He's having some heart issues. So I've been a little bit distracted about that. We're not in an urgent, like, emergent situation as far as, like, he's not having surgery immediately. He's not in any dire danger. So I don't need to be going down there. But it has been distracting today. I've been thinking about that. So I'm sure that has played in today to me being very distracted and distractible. But it is coming right along, and I would put it on, but I would lose stitches, I am quite certain. But when I tried it on yesterday, it looked so good, and it was just right about here, right under my bust. So I don't know. I don't know how many twists there are. I should go and look and see what other people's things, how many twists there are. That's how I did it with the book club raglan, was keeping track of how many of those that there were. That would help me too, to know if I know that there's, like, let's say 10 twists and I already have 4 now, then I would be like, oh, I only have 6 more. So that would be the top and the bottom of one. So I have, you know, 72 rows or whatever it is. I haven't done that. I may go do that, because that, I think, would help me as well to stay focused. But yeah, it's coming right along, and I'm not at all unhappy that I ran the experiment. I'll talk more about it tomorrow whenever I film my regular podcast. So until then, peace out. I will update you for a regular podcast tomorrow, and I'll let you know how it went. All right, guys. So here's the final reveal. I have gotten this much done. I will try it on, and I'll take a picture and I'll pop that up here so that y'all can see how long it is on me. It's probably, this is about probably half of the body or so. And I did get the collar done as well. Secretly, I really thought I was going to be sitting in front of y'all today with, if not a completely finished sweater, a finished body of a sweater. I am a little bit surprised by what I discovered this week about myself. Because back in my days, whenever I was a monogamous crocheter and a monogamous knitter, I could have gotten a sweater done. Definitely a summer sweater, because I've done it before. Gotten that sweater done in a week. Just focusing on that sweater. I've been able to get a full length, full sleeved sweater done in a week and a half to 2 weeks whenever I am just knitting on it. And that's from start to finish. Weaving in ends and everything. But somewhere along the lines, whenever I decided that I was going to allow myself to cast on everything I wanted to, and I would switch back and forth, and I would knit on the things that I wanted to knit on and not be held back by anybody else's expectations, not be held back by my own expectations, or what I thought the rule was, which is you can only work on one thing at a time. Once I did that, I don't think there's any going back from that. I was so distracted. I found myself on my phone a lot more. In fact, I have it set up where it tells me how much I'm on my phone every day. And in this last week, I have averaged like 2 extra hours a day on my phone. And it was because I kind of lost my joy in this project, which really upset me. Because this is a pattern that I have been waiting for with bated breath. I mean, look at this. This is the Moss Ridge by Petite Knit. Let me back that up and just tell you I am so sorry. This is the Moss Ridge by the Knit Pearl Girl. Okay, the knit part was right. I don't know why I said that it was another designer, but it is the Knit Pearl Girl, Sophie, and I have been wanting to knit this since I saw the very first picture on Instagram of this. It is just so stunning. So stunning. I was so excited. I found a loophole for I have to use stash yarn for it. I decided that I really wanted to use this Bahram U in this beautiful, I mean, look at that color, this gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous burnt orange color that I am in love with. And I have a couple of sweaters in this. And so I reached out to find out how much I would need, you know, would 8 be enough? And I bought 8 balls of this. So by the time she did the test call, guess what? This yarn was stash yarn. Oh, I'm so good at finding loopholes whenever I want to buy something. Not that I need to. It is just me. I've shared with you before. I don't have a partner. I don't have anybody. I don't answer to anybody about how I spend my money. All my bills are paid, right? I can spend how I want to spend. But it's little head games I play with myself. My dad used to do this all the time. He had little games that he would play. And then based on whatever that game was and the outcome of it and whatever the total was, he would buy my kids savings bonds. And so it might be $50 one time, it might be $125 one time, it might be, you know, $25. It just depended. And so I definitely inherited that, the little mind games and playing games with myself to make things be like I want them to be. And so I played that little game and it was stash yarn. So I went ahead and bought that, and I have been jonesing to knit this. Like, could not wait to get this on my needles. Just could not wait. And even I don't hate moss stitch. I certainly don't. And I absolutely love the look of it. I mean, look at that. Ew, it is so pretty, right? But after a while, I had done a lot of moss stitch and seed stitch on my, what's it called? The Book Club Raglan. I'd done a lot of, you know, there's moss stitch and purling and all of that stuff, and knits and purls in the Aiden sweater test. And then I have to do all of this up here in moss stitch. I was pretty done with the knits and purls for a while. So I was really excited whenever I did get to the point where I was able to start doing cables, because that was just delightful. And that did bring back some of the joy for me in this project. But again, I wasn't loving it as much as I should, as excited as I was, because it's a fabulous pattern. And I am enjoying myself more than I can say actually working on the pattern. And whenever I'm focusing on this and I'm sitting there, I'm like, oh, Now, I will say I've been happier today working on this than I have any of the other days. So I do feel like that if I stuck with just working on one thing at a time, that the joy would probably come back. But I don't want to. And at the end of the day, for me, the joy is in knitting what I want to knit when I want to knit it. And if that means that I have 25 cast-ons that I am slowly but surely working through, then that's just what it means. That doesn't mean that that's the same for everybody. It doesn't mean everybody should knit the way I do. It doesn't mean everybody should be a monogamous knitter. It doesn't mean everybody should be a polyamorous knitter or a whatever we're calling that that's not just one thing, right? You find your sweet spot and you go for it. Now, I will tell you, it wasn't too bad because I started this last Wednesday. Today's Wednesday. It is the 19th of August. And so I started this a week ago, even though this doesn't show until Saturday. But on Friday, so 2 days later, I went to the movies. So for a couple of hours, I was able to knit on my Soul Mosaic. And I got probably about that much done. And I just forgot to bring it in here, and I don't want to pause and go get it. It hasn't changed that much. It's grown by about that much. But I knitted for a couple of hours on that. So that was nice to just have a little sigh of relief and just work on something that was mindless. And at the end of this, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to go back to how I was knitting. And I did find one of the things, and I talked about this in the vlog, I had to put all of my other projects in project bags, not Ziploc bags where I could still see them, but actual project bags that hid them, and move them away from my immediate vicinity, because I usually sit there, the ones that I'm working on, they're around my chair, and that way I can just pick up whatever I want to. And so, and before you ask, yes, sometimes they do get tangled, and yes, sometimes I swear that they are down there doing the heing and sheeing or something, because they are, you know, all wrapped around each other and I have to untangle them. But that's a price that I will pay to have all of my lovelies laid out and being able to reach down and pick up whatever I want to work on. So that, you know, I had to mitigate that because I was really looking at them, longing to work on them instead of focusing on what I was working on. That did help some. When I got those moved away in project bags where I couldn't see them, it did help some to make it easier for me to focus on one thing. I do think, like I said, if I continued on, it would get better, but I don't want to. I don't want to feel like I'm struggling, and I don't want to feel like that I'm being punished or anything else. So the things I learned about myself are, I do not like knitting on just one thing. I like variety in my knitting life. I don't live my life in any other way like this, right? I'm pretty like, I get one thing done before I move on to the next thing, because I know that if I don't, I won't ever finish that thing. That is not how it is with me for knitting. Not to say that I don't have some long-standing whips. If you watched my hand-dyed yarns video, then you saw that I have one that I had forgotten about that I thought I was going to rip out, and that now I'm going to finish because I found it. And so that one's probably been on my needles for over a year. And then I've got the throwback cardigan by Andrea Mowry that has been waiting for just button bands for probably 6 years. And now has been waiting for months and months and months now for just a final button band. And speaking of my hand-dyed yarns video, I forgot to mention something in there. Jackie is making, on YouTube, she spins as well as knits, and she actually quilts as well, and she may sew as well. She's pretty well versed. This week's episode, oh my gosh, she had the most beautiful t-shirt she showed that she did out of her hand spun yarns. And so that pattern would lend itself, but it also is a perfect example of what I was talking about picking a plain t-shirt or sweater and knitting it out of a hand-dyed yarn, or in this case, a hand-spun yarn. And then she had some others that she was working on with her hand-spun. So I think that you should check that out if you're interested in other patterns, and also go and check out the comments. A lot of people have commented, and this just came out this morning. So we've had a lot of comments sharing different patterns that they like, the fact that they like, you know, it in garter stitch versus stockinette stitch, some other designers that lend their patterns really lend themselves to good hand-dyed yarns. So make sure you go check those out as well. But I had forgotten to mention Jackie is making in my video, so I wanted to go ahead and say that because, oh, it's been great. It has been great. And also, if you're, you know, I talked about you could put a ball of yarn, like go get a company yarn, put the name of the yarn in there, and then pick the colorway for the hand-dyed yarn you're using. Well, one of the things that Allie is making had brought up on Saturday's video, or it would have been last week by the time this comes out. Last week's video was talking about that she had trouble finding things because there can be multiple bases by a hand dyer that all has the same colorway, but they look a little bit different, and she wants to see. And she found a trick, so go check that video out as well. I will link to both of their podcasts, and then we'll also link to those individual videos. But she has a tip for that, and I'm going to do some Ravelry tips on how to search for things, and lots of other YouTubers do too. And as I see them, people share that, I'll make sure to share that with y'all. But you know, it's just, I just wanted to cover that because I forgot to do it in yesterday's video, and I realized that today whenever I was watching my video to see if I needed to change anything. And so back to my experiment. Like I said, I won't go back to being a monogamous knitter. It kind of took the joy out of this for me, and it was a real shame because I've been looking forward to this. So I will finish out tonight, but till I go to bed, I will still only work on this. And then I will try it on. The picture y'all will see will be me trying it on right before I'm putting it down for bed, so that y'all can see the final progress that I had made on it. And then tomorrow morning, all bets are off, and I am going to work on whatever I want to work on. And I'm going to tell you the first thing I'm probably going to work on is the current tee, the soft current, or not tee, but the soft current sweater, because I have really missed working on that. I only did like 4 rows at a time, but I've really missed that. The other things that I'm going to focus on this week, I would like to get the sleeves of my raglan, my book club raglan done, because then she will be in the books. And the sleeves should go a lot faster because it only has one cable down the middle, so it doesn't have all of those cables. And to be honest, I'm really looking forward to showing her off to y'all. So if she is done next week, I will wear her and I will just turn my air down. Now, I will not wear her if it's like it has been yesterday. And today it is 103 degrees outside today, and it was 104 yesterday. That's really hot, whether you're in Celsius or Fahrenheit. It's just hot. So if it's this hot next week, I will not wear her. I will just bring her and show her. But if it's not that hot, then I will turn my air down. And even if I have to bring in a fan to blow directly on me, I will wear it. And then the other things that I want to work on this week, I do have a new test knit, as I said, and based on what y'all come back with, I will cast on. It'll come out on Saturday. I'll probably cast on next Wednesday morning, just so I have something to show y'all, and I'll let y'all know what colors I'm using. But I will do that, and then I want to work on my widow's kiss as well, because Maria reached out from the Knitting Shepherdess. She reached out. She's already got her sleeves done. Oh my gosh, I have not done that. Yeah, I need to get a move on because I've only got like this much of one sleeve. So I'll work on that some more. What else? My movie knit will continue to be the Soul Mosaic, and that will be my meeting knit too. Whenever I need to pay attention and I'm on camera, but I can knit without having to look, that will be that knit. Trying to think of the other ones. I mean, I'll continue to work on the no frills because I'm really loving that red. And I did mistakenly say I didn't have any red hand knit sweaters, and then I was looking through things. I was like, oh yeah, I have the low tide that I knit out of red Flora, and oh yeah, I have my Erin sweater that, you know, I test knit last year that was out of Sanduscar and alpaca silk in red, held with red mohair. Okay, so I do have a couple of reds, but I don't have a red just plain stockinette. So I will work on that, and then I have a couple that I think I'm going to cast on. I've really been jonesing to cast on that sand sweater because I want to hold air with mohair and see what that feels like. So I'll probably cast that on. I'm going to bring my brother's knit back in play, and I'm going to bring my son's knit back in play. I doubt right now that Sarah's is going to come back in play because I need to do a couple of things with it. But I'd like to knock one of my gift knits out pretty soon, and I will also knit some on Shauna's. So that's a lot. That's a lot. And so that's what I'll be doing this next week. And then now I'm going to give y'all a little bit of a life update. And if y'all aren't interested in this, but you really want to hear about my found treasures in my stash, I'll put a little timeline up here that tells you where you can go. Or you know what? I won't, because I use chapters. I will chapter this part life update, And if y'all want to skip it and go to the Hidden Treasures of the Stash, that will say something like Hidden Treasures or Found Stash or something to where that you will know that that's the next part and y'all can just skip ahead. So I've had several distractions this week. I told y'all I was sick one day. One day Michelle came up and I knew that was going to happen. And we cataloged my one skein, you know, the ones that only have one skein, so single skeins. We had over 220. It's a lot. But I did have 3 bags that I am going to be destashing. So I haven't decided yet how I'm going to do it. I don't know if I'm just going to say I put together like a gallon bag of, hey, this is all this type of yarn and I'll sell it for like a set price and it's just kind of like getting a grab bag, or if I'll try to destash them through Vinted or doing it like a Ravelry stash or somewhere. I thought I was going to do Ravelry stash for everything, but I think that might be more work than I want. We'll see whenever I absolutely decide. I'm going to deal with the single skeins first. So that I will let y'all know in the coming couple of weeks how I'm going to handle those. Because I also have sweater quantities and stuff I want to destash. But for my life update, I had that as a distraction, and then the biggest distraction happened yesterday. I got a phone call from my brother, and forgive me if I get a little teary-eyed during this, because whether y'all know or not, my brother is my only sibling, and he is the only family that I have left in my nuclear family from growing up. My mom and dad are both gone, so it's just me and my brother, and he is 6 years older than me. I will be 57 next month. And so my brother on his next birthday in 2027, in January of 2027, will be 63 years old. So, yes, there's just a, well, there's part of the year we're only 5 years apart, part of the year we're 6 years apart, right? Because from January to September, we're 6 years apart, and then we have a few months where we're 5. Because he's 62 right now. I turn 57 next month. So for 3 months, we'll only be 5 years. Anyway, all of that to say, this is my only sibling. This is the only part of my nuclear family I have left. And I got a phone call yesterday morning. Very unusual. I was on a work call, and I was like, is this an emergency? And he said, yes, it truly is an emergency. He had passed out, and at urgent care, he had passed out while he was sitting still. And when they put the EKG on him, they called an ambulance immediately. And when the ambulance got there, and he knows that I'm going to tell y'all this, okay? He knows. I'm not going to tell y'all everything, but I will tell y'all the lead up to it and what happened. He knows. He doesn't care. And this is all to say, take care of yourself, people. I've talked about this. This will be my public service health warning. His heart rate was 43 when they got there. And so they took him to the hospital. They kept him because he also passed out when he was laying on the bed after having a CAT scan. So something obviously is very, very wrong from a cardiac perspective. And they did a heart cath today, and he is going to have open heart surgery. His vessels are 75% blocked. So it's a really big deal. I have been very, very distracted by that. As you can imagine, I am 3 hours away from him. Luckily, he and his ex-wife are still very, very good friends, and his ex-wife was there when all this happened. So luckily she was down there and was able to keep me updated. I'm very, very grateful for that. And so but today, because now we are into the decision, you know, I need to know what's going on so that I can help my brother make some decisions, because I am his closest relative. So I've been very, very involved today, and that has meant less knitting time. It's also meant less knitting time because from a mental standpoint, I've been very, very worried, and I don't want to lose my brother. So I've been pretty worried about it, as you can imagine. So I've not had as much knitting time. It is going to be okay. He is going, as I said, have to have open heart surgery, and that is very, very scary. It is a very, very big surgery, but he has not had a heart attack. So that is good. That is good for long-term prognosis. He is also a diabetic, and he's not been taking care of himself. We're going to change that. And, you know, if I have to manage it, I just have to manage it. I'll just take care of him. I'll just make him do what I want him to do, because he's got to stay around. So anyway, all of that to say that there have been some distractions. There may be a time when I'm recording in a hotel room. I may miss an episode, you know, just depending on what is going on and how much time that I have. But if I am not able to record, I will at least record like a little blurb that just says, hey, this is what's going on and this is why I'm not going to be here this week. I won't just leave y'all hanging, because I will tell y'all, there have been some podcasters who have just stopped making videos. It bothers me because I worry, did that person die? Did something happen in their family that would cause them to step away? Did they just get tired of doing it? Come on, please be like the Nitty Stewardess, or was that her name? Nitty Stew. She actually came on and said, hey, these things are happening in my life and I'm going to need to step away from podcasting. I'll still be on Instagram. I'll still be blah, 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 blah. She gave me closure. If she never comes back and podcast again, at least I had some closure. I'm going to, you know, I'll at her at the bottom too, so y'all can go watch her videos and, you know, because she was great. And hopefully she'll podcast again, but I won't leave y'all just hanging. So I will make sure that people know if I'm not going to be available. So all of that just to say that I had some distractions this week. It's probably why I didn't get as much done. But that's my life update for this week. So I will be headed to Little Rock once they figure out. It'll probably be Monday at the very earliest before he would have the surgery. So based on that, and then I've got a trip coming up to Philly, and I don't think I'm going to have to cancel it. If he's had the surgery and he's still in the hospital, he has nurses to take care of him. I don't have to be there. And part of this trip is work. It's not just play. If it was just play, we probably would have canceled it. But, you know, obviously if he's at the point where I need to be there and need to be hands-on, well, I'll cancel the trip. And, you know, but I'll do whatever I need to do. But if y'all do pray, I would really, really covet and appreciate any prayers. If you don't pray, but you think that, you know, sending good thoughts into the universe helps, or you have some other way that you deal with these things, I would greatly covet and appreciate those thoughts as well. So, you know, just, I appreciate everything. I appreciate all thoughts and prayers, and then I'll just leave it at that. So with that, I'm now going to get off of the serious, sad subject, but I will say, make sure that you are talking to your doctor if you have any changes. His only clues to this were he was short of breath when he was short of breath when he didn't think he should be. So make sure that you're listening to your body and that you go to the doctor if you need to. Take these things seriously. And then I'm putting my money where my mouth is. I am scheduling what's called a calcium test, where it's a CAT scan of your heart so that we can get an idea of where we're at right now with any kind of blockages or anything, so that we can then make a plan going forward. You can't remove what's already in there, but we can manage things going forward. So I'm hoping that that will be a good result, because I have been on GLP-1s for long enough that hopefully I've gotten the protection that comes with those as well, because those do also help with heart disease. They lower your risk of a heart attack. And I don't know how all of that works, but I am just very, very grateful there's this medication out there. So again, I'm going to move on from the serious subjects, and now I'm going to talk about everybody's favorite topic, and that is yarn. I have not had any acquisitions this week, but I have had some fun going to my stash and pulling some things out, because I did accept a test knit, and I'm doing the 0 to 6 months because these are so fast and they're so cute. And I accepted the test knit for Telly knits. I'll put the information up here, because I'm also going to pop up pictures. It is a Halloween knit. There are adult sizes as well, but I chose to do the children's size. And there's 3 different motifs. There's a black cat. Oh, I have to pause for just a second. All right, sorry about that. It was not anything urgent, but it was Digi calling me back. I tried to call her earlier to let her know that my brother was in the hospital and what was going on, so that she would know about it, because she and he are pretty close. He takes her to Walmart and stuff, and they go to lunch together and all, and so I wanted her to know. And if I didn't tell her, I knew that she would come after me. So, but I had called earlier and not gotten her, so she was just calling back, so it wasn't anything big. All right, now switching to the stash treasures. I told you, and by now I should have already put up the pictures, but I'll make sure that they're here too, that they may be transitioning through, but I'll try to fit all 3 of them. In fact, let me scooch just a little bit, and I'll try to get all 3 of them up here. There's a ghost, there's a black cat, and there's a Frankenstein. And they are all just as cute as can be. I am leaning towards doing the ghost, but I'm really interested in knowing what y'all think. And if you want to see one that is almost complete, if you go check out A Froggy Knitter, her podcast, Rachel, is also test knitting, and she's doing it for her grandson, and she's got one that's almost done. So it was really, really cute. I'm looking forward to this week's episode so that I can see it completed. She will have hers done before I ever cast on. So having said that, all of them have a pumpkin. So all of them, no matter which one I do, I will use this. This is Malabrigo Rios glazed carrot. And this is a DK weight pattern. And I will tell you, I think Rios knits up fine as a DK. So any of the orange bits, they all have pumpkins and stuff. All of the orange will be done in this glazed carrot. And then they all have some black in them. All of them will have this as the black. This is the Drops Baby Merino in black. All of them also have little pink cheeks. And so I will be using the Friendly products in this pink for the cheeks. I mean, how cute is that? It's so cute. So I will use this pink for it. And I might use, that pink could also be, you know, a solid of the t-shirt or the sweater as well if I wanted to use it as a background. And then they all have some green. They all have either Frankenstein has a lot of green. All of them have like a little pumpkin stem. So they all have a little bit of green, and it'll be one of these two colors. I think it's probably going to be this one because it's brighter. This is a little bit too muted for me, but you can give me your thoughts about which green you think I should go for, especially if you pick Frankenstein. If you pick Frankenstein, for sure let me know which green you think I should use for Frankenstein. If it's just for the pumpkins, you know, let me know, but it would be a minimal amount of green because it'd just be the little pumpkin stem. So you can let me know what you think. All right, and then let's see. All of them have some white as well. The ghost would have more white. They'll all either be this one or this one. This is the Yarn Smith's Cream, and this is Sparta Ferret, and it's a merino. All of these are superwash. So these are just superwash things that I have in my stash. Some of them are single skeins that I got for colors. This one I actually bought seeing if it was going to work with Brandon's sweater, but I went with a different color. This one I bought just to see the color. And so it'll be one of these two. As you can tell, neither one of them are, you know, they're kind of cream. I might, if y'all pick the ghost, and if I do decide to go with the ghost, I do have some white baby merino as well as some white charisma by Drops. And I might pull that white because it's more of a cream, a true white versus like a cream color. If I'm just doing a little bit, this will look white enough against the rest of it. But if I'm doing the ghost, I might pull in a white. And then for the backgrounds, here's where I don't know. I'm not sure. And this is where I really need your help deciding. So, no, that's not going to be one of them. Sorry, because this is going to be for kids, so it would have to be superwash. So everything has to be superwash. I have a Yarn Smith's Merino DK in this really pretty blue. This could be really nice as the, you know, background, the main color of the sweater. I also have the Sparta Ferret in this kind of purpley, winey color. And I got that to see. I think I'm going to do a color work in this eventually. But I bought this to see the color. And so I could use this as the main color. Then I have several others that are larger. And this is the only one that's a friendly. I have a burgundy friendly too. And I don't know where it went. I thought I had gotten it. I might have actually put it down accidentally. But just know I showed it before, I think. No, I think I only showed it to the yarn shop. But I have another wine color that's in this same brand. This is the Friendly Products Variations. And this is the blue labradite. But I did just use this for the background of my snowflake sweater. So, not sure that I want to have two baby sweaters with this as the background, but it could be. And I do have a burgundy, a wine color as well. So if you say, well, I kind of like the wine color, but I'd like it to not be quite that dark, the Variations is a little bit lighter. And then I have three that are Malabrigos, and it's this beautiful turquoise color, which is cyan. And then I have this pretty blue, which is blue jean. And then I have this really pretty light pale green, which is called cucumber. So let me know which motif you think I should do and what the main color you think I should do. And then, like I said, if you're doing Frankenstein, let me know which green you think I should use for Frankenstein. Okay? All right. Now, other happy stash finds. This is not a stash find. I've known about this, and I showed this in my whole scarn. But it's been sitting over there waiting for me to put it back with the other stuff that I'm going to do for the Zaynette Knits cardigan that I'm going to do with this. But it keeps reminding me that it is, in fact, the very first whole scarn cone that I ever got. And why have I not knit with it yet? And I would like some more cardigans in my wardrobe. So I think that I'm going to cast this on very soon for the Zaynette Knits cardigan. And I'll pop a picture up here. And because I want to give, pay homage to my very first whole scarn. And this was my gateway into cone yarns. So I'm going to use this. And then when I showed y'all my Ito in my stash, I talked about this yarn right here and being very unsure of what I was going to do with it. Was I going to hold it double? Was I going to hold it with something else? And I want to show y'all something that I never put together. These two will go really well together. If you can see this, this is an Ito mohair, and it is the colorway Coke. And I do actually have an entire sweater quantity of this. But if you look close, you can see that it has that pink color in it. So I am going to do a swatch of these two together. I'm also going to see, do I want to hold it single and single, or would I need to hold two of these strands along with one of these? And I'm going to swatch all of that and see what I like best. But look at that. Isn't that pretty? I never would have put these together. But for whatever reason, I happened to see this. I was putting it up or I was doing something. Anyway, Michelle was here. And I happened to look at this and I went, oh, look. Because see, it's got some of that brown in it. And you can see how pretty those are. And I saw that pink. And I was like, oh, those two will go perfect together. So I'm going to do something with those. And then the really happy coincidence. I shared with y'all a couple of weeks ago that I just got this gorgeous mohair from Yarn Atelier. And I will tell you, if you do want to place an order with them, if you leave, I have a link in my description, but if you just want to use a discount code, it's Melissa Knits for Fun, and you'll get a 20% discount. First time buyers only, please. And you do have to spend at least 40 pounds, okay, to get the discount. I get a little kickback. I don't get any money for it. They give me a little bit of a kickback as an ambassador as far as credit for yarns. So it's a win-win. But I bought this, and oh, it is so beautiful. Isn't that gorgeous? And I kept going, what am I going to hold that with? What am I going to hold that with? I got some stuff that maybe would go, and maybe I can pair it with this. And then I was looking at buying another one, another yarn to pair it with. And then I happened to look at my stash there, sitting back there, and this was sitting there. And I was like, oh, look at that. Was that a match made in heaven, or was that a match made in heaven? It could very well be that both of these are by the same brand. I have no idea, because this came from Woolly Yarn, and this came from Yarn Atelier. And look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? Isn't that gorgeous? So pretty. And I had to laugh because apparently somebody did go and order some stuff, and Raoul had reached out to me. Or Roel. I honestly don't know how to pronounce his name. It's R-O-E-L. And so he's over in the UK. I don't know. We'll say Raul. Anyway, he reached out to me and he said that somebody had bought and they were affiliated with me. And he said, yeah, her thing was, I need more yarn, like I need a hole in the head. He said it was very funny. I've really enjoyed that interaction. And so I thought it was funny too. And I was like, yep, I can identify. I need more yarn, like I need a hole in the head. But I'm already planning my next purchase from Yarn Atelier. And I'm also planning some purchases from some other places. So I have done good. I've not bought stuff every week in August. This is the only order I ordered in August. So, but look at those. So now I can't wait to do something with these. Give me some pattern ideas. What do you think I should make with this? And I mean, I'm good if you say, oh, you should just do another Monday sweater. This is it's either a wool silk or a cashmere silk, and I honestly don't know. I think it's a wool silk, but isn't that pretty? It's probably a merino silk, and it would be like a 70-30. This is, it might have listed itself as a DK, but I think that's a fingering. So it'd be like a fingering and a mohair together. So if you have any favorites, or if you're like, oh, that color would be so beautiful in this pattern, then, you know, go ahead and let me know. And I said I didn't have any acquisitions. I do actually have an acquisition that I did not purchase. So I opened up my Ravelry email, and I have to say, I'm so sorry. I meant to check the name so that I would get it right. So I'm not going to say names. I will put the Ravelry username up here. But I opened up my Ravelry, and I had a pattern that was gifted to me. And it is so incredibly nice because it's the Knus, K-N-U-S light. It has been in my queue for a while, and I've got yarn assigned to it and everything, and I just wasn't going to pull the trigger on the pattern until I got ready to knit it. But thank you, thank you, thank you. That's the other thing. I think I'm going to probably go ahead and cast that on, and I'm going to cast on the Esme, which was gifted to me by another viewer, because I want to use those patterns as they come in, because I've been wanting to use them for a while. So as I said, I will put the Ravelry username up here of the person who gave me the Knus light, and thank you, guys. You have no idea, number one, how much my heart grows whenever people send me love in any form like that. It is just amazing to me. And then this happened last night when I still didn't quite know what was going on with my brother, but we were waiting on to find out what happened today with the test and all. But as you can imagine, I was really pretty scared, and I was and so for that to have brought that little spark of joy and that little light that it brings whenever somebody gives you a gift unexpectedly, thank you again. And I will say, I try to live my life. Michelle laughs at me all the time, and I know that this is probably way more than you signed up for a simple little knitting vlog or knitting podcast. But Michelle makes fun of me all the time because we'll be on a trip and we'll be walking down the street, or we'll be in the airport and we'll stop and do something, and I'll compliment people. I'm like, oh, you have the most beautiful eyes, or your hair looks so nice, or oh, I love that dress, oh, your nails are so nice. I try to at least smile at people. I try to live my life in such a way that I don't know what people are going through in their lives, but I try to bring a little bit of joy into their lives, even if it's, I might have been the only smile they got all day. You never know. They might be going through something really hard at work, at home, wherever. They may have had a really bad day, and just seeing somebody smile at them makes them feel a little bit better. So I try to live my life that way. And when the universe returns things and I get that feeling of love from people, it always just makes my heart grow bigger, and it always makes me want to pass it on as well. So I will pass this, I will pay this forward, and I will try to live my life with kindness. Anyway, now that I've rambled on about all of that y'all didn't sign up for, I'm sure, I will go ahead and end this podcast. It was probably way longer than I expected it to be, with it just being an update and having worked on one project all week. But it does just tell you I can talk about things all day long. But with that, until I see y'all again, I do hope that y'all have a fabulous knitting week.